Hi, in this video we are going to continue with the introduction of the computer science. And firstly, we are going to talk about the history of the computers and then the categories of the computers. So the modern computer science, which starts in 1935 with the Alan Turing's first abstract notion of the computer. And as you can see, the Alan Turing actually designed the abstract model of the computer. And the model have a infinite input, the input with the zeros and ones, which is binary. Okay, and then this concept becomes practical until 1946 with the first general purpose computer called Antioch. And you can see from the image, Antioch need to use the cables to do the program. You have to plug the cables into the specific position to make the program. And it is said that Apple's logo was designed to commemorate Alan Turing, but I don't know, maybe it's just a legend. In about 6 decades, we moved from a machine that filled 30 by 50 foot room, weighted 30 tons, used 18,000 vacuum tubes, and can perform 5,000 additions per second, to a machine that executes more than 1 billion instructions per second, cost a couple of $100, and fits into one person's palm. And it can also take phone calls, take pictures, and do a lot of different type of works. So this progress is really incredible compared with other industries. Like if cars can improve at the same rate, Rolls-Royce today probably will only sell for $1, and it can deliver 1 million miles per gallon. So the field of computer science is still pretty young. It's only developed for 7 decades, and until now the computers are still improving. And something like this one, it's a small computer called Raspberry Pi, and the specification for this one is pretty impressive. It's a 64-bit quad-core processor, and it has 8 gigabytes of the memory, and it has 2 HDMI ports and 2 USB 3.0 ports, and it also has a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It used the USB Type-C port to power the machine. So only this size, I can do a lot of works. I don't even need to start my main computer to do the computation. And this is a small disk. It has 64 gigabytes of the storage, and I can install the operating system on this. So I can do the calculation, I can do the entertainments, I can do everything, use this small computer. So compare with the Antioch, so this is a huge development. Here I give you another link, which is a very interesting timeline. You can go to this link to see the development of the computers. So there are some interesting laws, like the first one called Moore's law, the second one called the Gilder's law. So the Moore's law is pretty popular. Almost everyone in the computer science knows this one. So it says that the number of the transistors on a microprocessor would double every 18 months. And the Gilder's law says that the total bandwidth of the communication system triples every 12 months. So that can express the evolution speed of the computer science. So the Antioch is not a commercial computer until 1951. The Univac is actually the first commercial computer, and this machine marks the beginning of the computer age. And from that time until now, the computer technology can be roughly divided into 4 generations. The first generation is called vacuum tube age. It's about from 1951 until 1959, and in this period of time, the computer is built of vacuum tubes. Okay. And the second generation is called the transistor age. So you use the transistors to build the CPU. And the next generation is called the integrated circuit. So you still use the transistors, but we have the integrated circuit technology. We can make the transistors smaller, and we can deploy the transistors in the integrated circuit. The fourth generation is called large-scale integration age. It's about from 1971 until now. And in this generation, we still use the very large integration circuit technology, and we can make the CPU smaller and smaller. And as you can see from my Raspberry Pi, the CPU is only this size. Okay. So here's a comparison between the Antioch and the PCs. You can see the speed, the weight, the size, the power, and the runtime, the software, totally different. Here shows you how you can program using the Antioch, using the cable connections to make the program, and use the vacuum tubes. So with the development of the computer, it can generate some tremendous impact on the economy. It builds thousands of new companies, and you can see the popular companies here. Some of them are actually over 100 years. Like the IBM is more than 100 years. And here are also some, social companies, social networking companies like the Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, very, very large companies recently. Okay. And now we go to the computer categories. And even though we can see the computers looks different, some of them are large, some of them are pretty small, but we can divide them into different categories. And we basically have 4 categories. The first type is called the supercomputers. And second type is called mainframe computers. And third type is called the mini computers. And then we can have the microcomputers. So the supercomputers are the fastest, the most powerful, most expensive computers used for applications require complex mathematical calculations, like the code breaking, weather forecasting, nuclear explosion simulation, and maybe also it can be used for artificial intelligence. Like this is like several years ago, the first time human compete with the machine on the chess game, and then the human lost the game. And recently, you probably know the AlphaGo. AlphaGo, and also it's a competition between human and the machine. So the machine wins the Go game again, and the Go game is totally different from the chess, because the chess only have much less action space compared with the Go, and so this is important improvement in the computer science. So this is the supercomputer made by a Chinese company, and you can go to this link called top500.org and go to this link to see the most powerful supercomputers in the world. And you can see probably most of them are from the United States, and some of them are from China, and some of them from Japan. Okay. And the second type of the computer is called the mainframe. So this is not as powerful as the supercomputers, but it's still very powerful, and also very expensive. We can provide great processing speeds and data storage. And this type of computer is really used in the big firms like the banks or telecommunication companies. They prefer to use this type of computers to provide the tremendous computation power. And the third type is called mini computer. So this looks like the desktop, but it's a little bit different compared with the desktop. It's the desk-sized machine used by medium-sized companies or departments, and because this is more stable than the microcomputer. Okay? And you can use the mini computer to do the production related development and the design work. So the last type of the computer is called microcomputer. It can also be called personal computer or PC for short. So it is designed for personal use. Okay, it is the least powerful but most widely used machines, and is built around a single microprocessor chip, not like the previous types. So those machines usually have more than one microprocessor, but for the PCs, it usually has only one microprocessor, and including different type of machines like the desktop computer, workstation, notebook, single board computer, but they all belongs to the microcomputer. Okay, so this is the desktop computer. Okay, it's small enough to fit on the desk. So this is notebook or a laptop, and it's pretty popular now. And almost every student has a laptop. Okay, so this is a workstation. Looks like a desktop, but it's a little bit different from the desktop because it's used for some applications need more computation power, or computation resources. So it's a workstation. Okay, and these are single board computers like the one I'm holding now is called Raspberry Pi, and it's a single board computer. So actually means everything is already mounted on the main board. Okay. It's also a complete computer, but built on a single circuit board. Okay, so on this slide, you can see the different type of single board computers, like the Raspberry Pi. So this is called the Orange Pi. So this is called the Banana Pi. So there are different type of pies. You can choose your preferred Pi. Okay. So this is the summary of the categories of the computers. We have supercomputers, mainframes, microcomputers, and mini computers.